Welcome to Sound and Fury. I'm Eric Wilford Watson, and I'm wearing a silly hat.
And I'm Hugh Frank, and I'm a child in a man's body.
And today we're going to talk about kids' movies.
Yay!
Yay!
Kids' movies.
We're both parents. We both have toddlers at home, and we have been deluged with kids' movies that we have been forced to watch over and over.
Shark doo 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 baby shark doo 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 baby shark doo doo.
And we're here to talk about them.
Yay!
So, what is your favorite kids' movie?
So my favorite kids' movie is definitely Finding Nemo. Goes way back. It was actually the first movie my wife and I watched together. So it was our first date movie. And it's about a man who is raising his son alone because his wife and family were murdered by a psychopath, and he goes on an adventure with somebody with serious mental disorders to try to get his son after he's kidnapped. But like any Disney movie, of course, it's got to have at least one dead parent.
Okay.
But no, it's actually when you think about what it really is, it's actually kind of horrific. But
as most Disney movies sometimes are.
As they are, if you think about it. So it also has, of course, a flock of vicious seagulls that just say "mine." And
movies with a flock of seagulls is usually never mind.
We got nothing. But and it's the of course it's the coming of age story of Nemo as he ascends Mount Wanahakalugi and becomes shark bait.
Yeah, I do find that movie cute. Did you like the sequel, Finding Dory?
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. It was interesting in kind of like the way Terminator 2 kind of wrapped up the story of the first Terminator. Finding Dory kind of actually plugged a lot of I wouldn't call them plot holes, but you're wondering like why does Dory speak whale and stuff like that. They kind of answer some of those questions. So unlike Marvel movies where they answer questions with more and more and more questions, this one actually kind of came. That sequel came full circle. So it was very, very satisfying.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they were cute movies. My son hasn't tortured me with them yet, so I haven't really watched them in a while. But
you will.
This is not my favorite pick, but I do want to talk about something as sort of an aside that my kid has been torturing me with, and that's a show called Word Party on Netflix.
Oh.
Word Party.
You don't teach your children about Word Party, your children will teach you.
Public service announcement brought to you by Sound and Fury, because we care.
Yes, and we're on the internet.
Yes, so you can trust everything we say with absolute inerrant truth.
Yes.
Word Party is a show about 4 animals that live together. There's a panda, there's a wallaby, there's a cheetah, and an elephant. These animals, I have a really dark, twisted theory that I think they may actually be kidnap victims. In the show, there's a disembodied voice that speaks to these 4 baby animals.
I want to play a game.
Tells them when it's time to eat, when it's time to go to sleep, when it's time to... it's called Clickety Clock. And it dangles from the ceiling. It's like, oh, it's time to go outside and play. And they always do what this disembodied voice tells them. There's no parents around.
It's not okay to run away from the table when you're eating.
I think they're kidnap victims.
Well, it's the only logical explanation.
Mm-hmm. Another reason I think they may be kidnap victims is because in the more recent season, they introduced a 5th animal, which only speaks Mandarin Chinese.
Interesting. So
no parents.
Everyone, meet Tilly. She's a little baby tortoise. Babies, that's a little too loud. Tilly needs time to get used to her new home.
It's kind of like Muppet Babies, too. Where were the parents in Muppet Babies?
Yeah, I find it very disturbing.
Yeah.
But anyway, my favorite actual movie and a genuine love is Toy Story. That is probably one of the best kids' movies of all time. It's timeless. It did introduce the CGI sort of an entire movie of CGI was sort of a novelty back then.
Oh, yeah.
But even so, even though the CGI is a little bit dated at times, it holds up extremely well. And the characters, the story, it had humor, it had emotional appeal, had jokes that adults got. It tugged at your nostalgia heartstrings. It really does everything a kid's movie should, and it's good for parents, too. It's not like some inane thing like my kid likes to watch this Bears show from Netflix that's also just the most horrible thing ever. But
it's
this is actually a good movie.
It's gotta be good.
But yeah, as parents, do you remember watching shows that you wanted to watch when you wanted to watch them?
Never. Never. My older brother, who has subscribed to our channel and probably will be watching this before too long,
I'm very sorry for your loss.
He bought a Timex Sinclair 3000 or Timex Sinclair 1000 or something. Anyway, it was a computer this was back in the early 80s when computers were new. And it didn't even have a monitor. He had to hook it up to a TV. So I would be watching my Saturday morning cartoons in my little pajamas, and my brother would come in and say, "It's time for the Timex computer show." Yay! And I'd say, "No." Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So I never really did get to watch what I wanted to watch. It's all on tap now. But back to Toy Story. Have you noticed? There's a handful of references in Toy Story that are kind of fun. It's got a lot of deep meaning stuff for adults. One is when they put the toy box or when they put the toolbox on top of Woody to keep him in that milk crate. Mm-hmm. Did you notice it's a Binford Tools toolbox?
No, I did not.
In the gas station they go to is Dynaco, which ties into Cars. But then in Cars, the Goodyear blimp is actually the Lightyear blimp. By the way, it's not actually a blimp anymore. It's a semi-rigid dirigible. But anyway, I digress.
A what?
A semi-rigid dirigible.
What is a semi-Dorito original?
A semi-rigid dirigible varies from a blimp in that it has more of a structure to it, whereas a blimp is more of a balloon, and a semi-rigid dirigible is partially inflatable but partially structured.
You could just maybe making that up, and I'd have no idea.
I could, but look it up on the internet. I'm not wrong. So there's a few.
That's your campaign slogan.
It could be. Look it up on the internet. I'm not wrong. The Hugh Frank story. Ooh, that could be my other autobiography.
Autobiography 2, The Quest for More Money.
Merchandising. So what else was there in Toy? Yeah, but
You're talking about the fact that a blimp isn't a blimp.
Yes, it's a semi-rigid dirigible. It's kind of hard to
say. That's the word of the day, kids.
Semi-rigid dirigible.
Is that on word parties? They have the thing called Word Wally, where it like dangles the word down, and they show the different.
Use the word to escape.
It puts the word in the basket. It puts the word on its skin, or it gets the hose again.
Sorry, I've never seen it. I'm just picturing what it. Yeah.
I don't know if you finished making your point or not because I was too busy not paying attention, but there's another thing that they put in Toy Story that is for adults only, and that is the carpeting is the same from the movie The Shining.
That's awesome. Well, and one of the dolls is a hooker. I mean, it's a hook with legs. Like, Matter of fact, I was just pointing out to my wife, because we watched Toy Story the other day, at the end of Toy Story 2, there was a bunch of outtakes, and one of them was so raunchy, they had to edit it. So if you can look on the internet, it's like the original outtakes. It's something that Kelsey Grammer and something he's saying to a couple Barbie dolls. But
Spectre, how about you?
And so you two are absolutely identical? I'm sure I could get you a part in Toy Story 3. I'm sorry, are we back? Oh, all right, girls. Lovely talking with you. Yes, anytime you'd like some tips on acting, I'd be glad to chat with you. All right, off you go then.
Later on, they had to remove it. I mean, there's some adult humor in that movie, so much so that they can't really have it in the movie anymore.
It's fun when they slip little things in there just to kind of see if the adults are paying attention.
Yeah.
Like there's a movie called Shaun of the Sheep. Another thing that my kid loves that I can't stand is those sheep. But there's a sequence where he pushes buttons in a car wash, and it like opens up, and there's actually like a secret alien lair under there. But the music tone that the buttons push like bah, 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 from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Look that up on the internet too. It's sad that I know this.
I don't have anything to add.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some good kid stuff out there, even for us adults.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, and it's hard to narrow down. I mean, I have
Adults.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have a special connection to Finding Nemo, which is why that's at the top of my list. But that by no means excludes all the other ones, and they're all kind of fun. And now that Disney owns my life and soul, pretty much everything on that channel it's all gospel truth.
Disney Plus, your soul.
Exactly. It's all good stuff. But yeah, finding the adult humor in there is always fun.
It's almost a bit of a scavenger hunt. There was a Thomas the Train episode where the train gets stuck across the road, and I don't remember the exact quote, but it's something like, and the truck driver was telling the engineer just where he could put his train. And I'm like, what? It goes in the tunnel.
Here's an interesting connection, though. So John Lasseter, who goes back with Pixar way back. By the way, 6 Degrees of George Lucas, ILM. George Lucas invented Pixar, the whole idea, like all of the, and it's funny that I went full circle and got bought by Disney too. But Pixar was originally part of one of George Lucas's dreams. So there's a tie-in to Star Wars. But John Lasseter, his first film was actually only a few minutes long, and it was called Luxo Jr. And it's actually a little snippet of Luxo Jr. is actually in the beginning of the Pixar logo, where the lamp jumps on the eye in Pixar and flattens it out. There's actually like a mom lamp and a baby lamp, and the baby lamp jumps on a ball and flattens it, and it's really sad and stuff in the movie. So John Lasseter directed that, and I think he's directed and or produced like all of the Pixar movies. He is good friends with Joss Whedon, who actually has a writing credit on Toy Story.
I did not know that.
Yeah, in one of the episodes, and I think the episode was called Trash, one of the episodes of Firefly, they are after one of the original laser guns, which is known as the Lasseter, named after John Lasseter. Yeah, this is actually, and I just realized that when I watched Toy Story the other day. It's like, oh my God, Joss Whedon had writing credits on this. It's got to be related, because I always wondered, like, Lasseter is not a common name, right? So anyway, I looked it up, and it was true because it was on the internet. Yeah.
Well, let us know in the comments. If you're a parent, what's the show that you hate the most, or that you tolerate the most, or that you would just disappear from existence and makes you want to get drunk and pass out behind an alley in a puddle of your own urine?
Babies, that's a little too loud. Tilly needs time to get used to her new home.